I want to ask you a little bit now about hoop commitment. It's something that I don't necessarily want to call it a side project for you, but it seems to me to be a passion project for you. It's something that you've kind of really poured a lot of time and energy into, providing a resource of information for people, whether it's parents, coaches, or student athletes, about getting better at basketball through other things than just drill work, through nutrition, through leadership, through recovery and rehab and workout ideas. Give us a little bit more information about hoop commitment and maybe how people can find out your podcast or your website.
Well, it's definitely a passion project. Every summer I would go on vacation and kind of rethink, what does the next 5 or 10 years look like? And this was about 12 years ago. I was laying on a beach in Mexico and I was thinking, man, if I had $1 billion, what would I do with my life? Of course, you go on vacation, you kind of lay at the beach for a while, but at some point you got to do something. And that was a huge aha moment, because I thought, even if I had $1 billion, I would still study basketball specific nutrition, training, and leadership. Right now I just finished nutrition certification. It does not make me one extra penny. There's no reason to do it except for I'm so interested in it. And same thing with leadership. I'm working on my PhD. I'm about to pick it back up after having another kid. And I'm not taking these classes because I want to have it on my resume. I don't need a resume. I just love learning about leadership and training, strength conditioning. And so I just feel like I'm cheating the system, because that's my full-time job. My job is to be an expert in basketball, nutrition, training, and leadership. And so what's great about hoop commitment is it's just a passion project. It's a way for me to document, organize, and be able to kind of have like a journal of my thoughts. And the nice thing is it's not a money maker. So it's not like, oh gosh, well, if I don't start making money soon, I'm going to have to close up shop. I just do this because I love it. And so that's why I know it's going to be sustainable. It makes, me a better athlete. It fills my cup. I have 3 little kids that love basketball. So it fits into family life. It fits in my work life. It just flows. And then about a year and a half ago, I thought, well, maybe I'll try a podcast. And I tell you what, you probably know this now doing your podcast. This is really cheating the system, because now what I've done is I just found all of these mentors or people I look up to, experts in the field of nutrition, training, and leadership. And then I just pick their brains for 30 minutes to an hour. Like I'm on Wednesday, I'm meeting with the Houston Rockets strength conditioning coach. And I followed Willie's work for a while. And I'm like, hey, he gets to train, Westbrook and all of these like unbelievable players. And so I just want to pick his brain on conditioning. And so under the disguise of the podcast, I say, hey, man, can I interview you for 30 minutes to an hour? And I just have a whole list of questions that I wonder about at the NBA level. How do you manage guys that are high minutes and still condition them? What do you do with players that aren't motivated? All of these things that are coming through my head. And so, yeah, if you're interested in basketball specific nutrition, training, or leadership, you can kind of join my journey by going on the podcast world and checking out Hoop Commitment. If you're interested in the website stuff, I just document everything. And so just go to hoopcommitment.com and you'll see all the articles I've written. Everything's basketball. Of course, if you like tennis or golf, you're going to get stuff out of the leadership piece and maybe even out of the nutrition piece. But if you're a basketball person, this is definitely the website for you.
Well, I agree. I've listened to most of your podcast episodes, and they're very good, and I enjoy listening to them. And I'm looking forward to listening to the upcoming episodes. You've recently had some things that you've had to kind of work through, just like you have motivated and helped your student athletes get through. Are you comfortable sharing a little bit more about some of the challenges that you've had to overcome in these last couple months?
Oh, yeah, of course. I think sharing's so important, because this was about, maybe almost a year ago, maybe 6-8 months ago, I started having these chest pains, and I was just feeling constant pressure on my chest. And as you mentioned, Dan, I'm a business owner. And so our physical therapy clinic, we had to shut down, and Gonzaga was shut down, and I have rental houses, and I have tenants calling me saying, hey, I don't know if I can pay rent. And I was just like feeling this pressure, but I just thought it was stress. And I'm really good at taking care of myself. So I doubled down on sleep and nutrition and meditation. I was cutting out some of these extracurricular things. I'm like, I'm just going to really make sure that I'm handling my stress well. And it wasn't getting better. And so for months and months, I was just having this constant pressure on my chest. And when I'd go work out to kind of relieve stress, I was feeling kind of just weak. And thank goodness my wife says, you got to go get this checked out. And I'm like, it's fine. It's just stress. And she would not let off me. And so finally I went and got checked out, and we found out that I was just born with a bad aortic valve. It was just a birth defect. And over time, my valve had just worn out. And so I found that out in November. And in December, I had open heart surgery. And the reason I like to share was up until November, I didn't know anyone that had open heart surgery. I just felt a little bit alone. But then once I shared with people, and, you don't want to have people feel sorry for yourself or put them in a bad position where they're like, I don't know how to respond. But I started sharing what I was going through. And it was so cool to have people reach out and say, hey, my dad went through that. My uncle went through that. I just had this strength coach at Furman College reach out 3 weeks ago. He had the exact same surgery that I had. And nobody has this surgery, which is you not only replace your aortic valve, but you take your pulmonary valve and switch it over. It's a really difficult surgery. And this strength coach, who does the exact same job I do working with basketball, had the exact same surgery 2 months before me. And I tell you what, it's so fun to be able to pick their brain. Roni Turioff, your old teammate, reached out to me and said, welcome to the Zipper Club. And you go from kind of feeling a little bit scared, uncertain, what does this mean? And then when you have a team around you to pick you up and say, hey, even if they haven't been through it, so many people haven't had an open heart surgery, but they said, hey, can I shovel your driveway? Can I take down your Christmas tree? Can I bring you dinner? Man, and even if you don't take people up on that, all of a sudden it was like this huge blessing of, I knew I had a bench. I knew I had a team. I didn't realize how deep my bench was, how many people really cared and stepped up. So yeah, it's actually turned out to be a blessing. I'm back at work. I'm really tired. Last week was my first week back at work, and I was like high-fiving everyone. I'm so excited to be here and see everyone at Gonzaga. And by 3:00, I just hit the wall and I crashed. And so I got to be a little smarter with my return to work protocols. But yeah, it's actually been a blessing in disguise.